Alrighty, so if you are a blended Thursday, Friday student and you weren't here for the study guide, so here's your video. You're going to want to make sure you watch this before Thursday. So hopefully you're hearing this and it's Wednesday. So your test is just like this. Numbers were changed, but that's really about it. So we have which expression is equivalent to 8 to the power of 5. Well, this is our exponent. And it tells you how many times to write the base. This number is your base. It's the number you write. Number you write. So the number we write is 8, and we're going to write it 5 times. And you're multiplying each time. So it can't be 40, because 8 times 8, 64 times 8, 200 something times 8, like adding. Can't be 13, because that's 8 plus 5. This next one should have 5 of them. I did it wrong. 8 times 8 times 8 times 8 times 8. There's 5 of them, and 8 is our number. So that means it is C. For this problem, there's only one of them. 2, it is worth 1 point, but it is half point per answer. That means there are 2 answers that are correct. So on your test, there is a grid. It's already broken up for you. Select all equations. That means there's at least 2 where x equals 7. So either you solve each equation and it equals 7 at the end, or you put 7 in for x. So that's what I'm going to do. I have x minus 3, so I'm going to have 7 minus 3 equals 10. Well, 7 minus 3 is 4, so that doesn't work. B, we have 1 plus 7 equals 8. 1 plus 7 is indeed 8. So that means B is an answer. C, we have 9 minus x, so 9 minus 7 equals 4. 9 minus 7 is 2. So that one doesn't work. Next, we have 14 equals 2 times 7. Remember, if it's right next to each other, that means you multiply the 2 items. You don't put them together, so it doesn't say 27. It says 2 times 7. Your test, you will have a problem just like this, where your number and letter, that means you multiply. And 2 times 7 is indeed 14. This next one, I yet again made another mistake. Anytime you see the number 2, you need to change it to the number 3. All of those 2's you need to change to the number 3. This is like our lesson 9, 10, 11, where we're given something and we want to break it down using area and distributive property. So if I have a rectangle, one of them is 3 times h, and one of them is equal to 15 on the inside. Well, this one we're multiplying by 3, so this is going to be 3 times something. So we have 3h. 3 times what is 15? Well, 3 times 5. So on a Thursday, Friday, we had one that was the area of the width times the length, where you added the length. And then we had one rectangle plus the other rectangle. And it was still width times length, width times length. This is width times the total length when we're adding them. So we have a width of 3. Width is 3. My length is h plus 5. Okay, so if I'm only looking at this square, my width is 3, my length is h. So I have 3 times h. And for this one, my width is 3, my length is 5. So I have 3 times 5. Now we have to determine which of the expressions are equivalent. This is the same. It's worth 1 point. Half point per answer. That means there's 2 correct answers. And we wrote them both down. So this says 3 parentheses h plus 15, 3 parentheses h plus 5. So it's not that. 3 times h plus 3 times 5, right there. 3 with a parenthesis h plus 5, 3 parentheses h plus 5. So on your test tomorrow, if this, let's say this is 20 right here, the number on your answer can't be 20 because it needs to be broken apart, distributed. So it can't be that same number. It's going to be a multiple of it. Here is an expression. 5 times 2 to the power of t. Well, evaluate the expression when t is 2. So that means you need to plug it in. So we're going to have 5 times 2 to the power of 2. Well, up at the top, we talked about powers, and that power tells you how many times you write something. So that means we're going to have 5 times, and then this is 2 times 2. Well, what is 2 times 2? 2 times 2 is 4. So now I have 5 times 4. And 5 times 4 is 20. On your test, your problem will be just like this. This number will change. So, but this part stays the same. All right, on to the back. This is where the majority of your points are. This is where it's really going to get you. Question 5 is worth 4 points, 1 for each of these. You need to know your math action words, how to write an equation, and then how to plug in information. So 5 says, if half of the, so times, students are, so equals 6th grade. Half of the students in a school are in 6th grade. If the school has X students, the school, meaning all of them, so now we have a value, write an expression for the number of 6th graders in terms of X. So total students is X, 6th graders I'm going to say is S. So we now have S equals 1/2 times X. Where S is 6th graders, X is total students. How many 6th graders are there? I'm on this one. So I'm looking for S. If the school has 80 students, so this is my X value. So now we have 1/2 times 80. Well, what is 1/2 of 80? 1/2 of 80 is 40. C, how many 6th graders are in the school? So again, we're looking for 6th graders if the school has 300 students. So there's our X value. We need to plug it in. So we have S equals 1/2 times 300. Hello. So we have 1/2 of 300, which is 150. D, how many students are in the school? So now we're looking for X. If 62 of them are in 6th grade, so we have our S. So we have 62 equals 1/2 times X. So now we need to solve our equation. The opposite of multiplying by 1/2 would be to divide by 1/2. And 62 divided by 1/2, if we use our calculator, should give us 124. 62 divided by 1 ABC2. That gives us our fraction. Gives us 124. Last problem is also worth a lot of points. It is worth 3 points, 1 for each part. Taylor poured 3.7 liters of water into a partially filled pitcher. We don't know how much was in there. It was partially filled. The pitcher then contained 12.5. So we have our equation. 3.7 plus something equals that. So I'm going to go ahead and skip down to B. 3.7 plus something equals 12.5. Question 8. Which diagram represents this situation? Remember, this number at the top is your total. So we have A, B, or C. The only one that says equals 12.5 is B. Lastly, we need to solve the equation. So I'm not going to rewrite it. I'm just going to solve it from up here. The opposite of positive 3.7 would be negative, so we're going to subtract it from each side, giving us x equals minus 3.7, 8.8. So that means it started with 8.8 liters of water. If you have questions on it, please send me a Google Hangout or an email or a chat through GoGuardian. And study so you're ready for your test on Thursday.